So here we are. Our Tuesday chapter is our environment. So basically, what we have learned around up to this class is that all the interacting organism in an area, together with the non-living components like the biotic and abiotic components of an environment, forms an ecosystem. Ecosystem is basically the environment around which basically organism live and interaction of with that environment. Like is contained biotic component is all living organism, abiotic component is temperature, rainfall, wind, soil, and minerals. Okay, so in an ecosystem, all green plant and certain bacteria can produce food by photosynthesis are called producers. Obviously, they are producing food, so they are known as producer. Those who consume those producers called first consumer, and those consume, especially the plant, are known as herbivores. Those who consumes primary consumers are called secondary consumers, and herbivores are called, and who consume herbivores are called carnivores, and so on. Like if the secondary consumer is consumed by another organism, that is called tertiary consumer, that tertiary is consumed by another, that is called quaternary consumer. And same way, after the carnivore there is a superior carnivore, and at last there is another carnivore. And if the last the topmost of the chain, that topmost of the chain, like for example, if grass, deer, lion, deer, fox, and lion. So last superior carnivore, that is the lion, that consume all of the second consumer, that is the carnivore here, that fox, or we can say here fox, wolf, and then lion. So basically there are three carnivores, but the superior carnivore is the lion. He consume all rest carnivores. So he is the superior carnivore. Like if we want to make a diagram of the ecosystem that we all have studied till now, that is here the sun, that is the source of energy in the ecosystem, and here the soil, which all minerals and substances are present. Minerals are present for the plant, and here the plant leaves is there. So basically, when the plant take the light that fall on it, and it do photosynthesis, it produces food, and thereafter it is passed to the next, like we can say grasshopper, and thereafter frog, and last snake. So basically there is a flow of energy at the same time as the producer produces is, and is consumed by the primary consumer, and we can say, or the herbivore right here, and after that is another consumed by frog, that is now considered as secondary consumer or the carnivore, and it is now consumed by the snake, that is a superior carnivore, or we can say the tertiary consumer. Usually the tropic labors are limited to 3 and 4 position. Why? Because the all the energy that is flow, like for example, plant have produced 10 kilojoules of energy, only 1 kilojoule of energy is passed to the grasshopper, and thereafter only 0.1 kilojoule of the energy is passed to the frog, and last the snake got 0.01 kilojoule of the energy. And like for the snake, that is the superior of the other organism, according to their body mass and body mass, we can say the requirement, if we compare with the grasshopper or a frog, the body requirements is more, and we get so much less, he got so much less energy. So usually the tropic limits up to 3 or 4 positions. And now food chain basically what I have told earlier, that grass is consumed by the grasshopper, and then consumed by the frog, and then consumed by the snake. So there is a sequence, or we can say a flow of energy, the chain, that one organism consumes the another consumer, is known as food chain. Each step or level of the food chain forms a tropic level. Basically whatever the step, like here grass is consumed by the grasshopper, so basically this is a step or a level of a food chain, like this is the food chain and this is the step or a level, so it forms a tropic level. The green plant in the terrestrial ecosystem captures 1% of energy for daily, like the total energy that falls on the leaf, only 1% of the energy that is captured by the plant to make food. Okay, 10% of the goes to the next generation. 10% of the energy goes to next generation, and they that is why their 3 and 4 level of tropic only exists. And the flow of energy is unidirectional, like if the energy goes from grass to grasshopper, then it can't go back. okay, if at last when the snake dies, then it is decomposed by saprophytes, or we can say the decomposers, and thereafter the energy goes back to the soil, and then it again gained by the plant. So there is also a organism, that is the we can say the consumers, but decomposers, but they did not get any place in the food chain. At the same time, this decomposer decomposes the last tropic level after is that, and then repass that inorganic energy back to the soil, which is again consumed by the plant for making for the photosynthesis, for consumed by the plant in photosynthesis for making food. So this is again, this basically help in the recycling of the nutrient in the ecosystem, and that is why the again there is a sequential flow of energy. So yeah, there is a unidirectional flow, because after the decomposer gets it, again decomposes. So basically decomposer would compose what, the what we can say, the inorganic substance that goes back to the soil. The energy is obviously lost, and that can't be regained again, but the decomposer regain the inorganic compound that goes back to the cell and then unconsumed by the plant for making food. As chemical did not dissolve, so swipe into the soil and plant gets it as each of, like if we use any type of herbicide on the plant, that it swipe in the soil, and after that herbicide or any decomposer we release in the soil, that is consumed that goes swipe in the soil, it can contaminate the groundwater. And if it again we can say that organism in the groundwater or the plant that uses that herbicide, the chemicals goes in the plant, and after that that is consumed by the grasshopper. That grasshopper consumes a lot of plants, so the a lot of chemicals got accumulated in the grasshopper, and thereafter when grasshopper is consumed by the frog, so frog consume like a lot of grasshoppers, so a lot of chemicals again get accumulated inside the frog, because chemical stays in there. Okay, and now after when snake consumes the frog, then again, because as each tropic level is consuming that, in its lifespan a plant consume a grasshopper consume a lot of plants, and then in frog lifespan consume a lot of grasshoppers. So continuously the energy obviously has been lost, but the inorganic compound, the chemicals can got accumulated inside the body. So at the as each tropic level increases, as each tropic level succeeds, increase more accumulation is done, and this is called as biological magnification. And the last topic that we have in this chapter is ozone depletion. Basically, O3 is the ozone, and actually when the upper layer of the atmosphere, it has O2 molecule. When UV rays strike in it, it breaks down into O and O plus, and when that O2 O single atomic atom gets interacted with the molecule for oxygen, that it forms O3, that is ozone. And there is a gas that we have given this chapter, the chlorofluorocarbon, that basically harms the ozone layer. Basically it depletes it leads to the thickening of the layer, and and leads to depletion. And United Nation environmental program, that is the program that lead by banning of this chemical, and at the same time consuming the depletion of the ozone layer. A lot of other environmental steps had been taken, like the earlier we know that the plastic cups were used in the trains, but thereafter we have a suggestion that we should use cooler. But cooler was used by the again the fertile made by the fertile soil, so they also harm our soil, and that fertile soil is essential for the production of the crop. So the crops production, so the fertile, we are continuously losing the fertile, so that is required for the agriculture. So again there is a problem in the uses of that cooler. So this is basically a chapter where we are continuously trying to know about the environmental different phenomena, at the same time knowing about the different concerns or the problem, like the ozone depletion, like the garbage. Even there are two type of garbage. First is the biodegradable, and there is another non-biodegradable. Biodegradable waste is the waste that is decomposed by the organism, like the decomposers, like the earthworm or the retrievers of the bacteria or the saprophyte that decompose that material, is basically the waste is known as biodegradable, and that does not decompose, it is called non-biodegradable waste. So the waste garbage problem, the accumulation of the problem, that is the non-biodegradable waste, is again a huge problem. Ozone depletion is a problem, and we have also seen the step that is taken by the entire world, that is the United Nations environmental program, that says of banning of the chlorofluorocarbon, and at the same time conservation of the ozone layer. And thereafter we have seen an example where we have used an alternative that is colder, but colder was made from the fertile soil, so it lead to the losing of a lot of fertile soil for the making. So thanks, this is the whole chapter.